guys, it's your girl Carrie, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a few of the items that I picked up over the past several months while I was out consignment shopping, thrifting, and antiquing. And as promised in a previous video, I said I was going to share with you the differences between all three. Now, the one thing that all of them have in common is that all of the goods are pre-loved or used goods, but there are slight variations as to pricing and what types of goods you'll find in each location. So I'm going to turn the camera around, show you what I've picked up, and tell you where I actually got it from. So let's start off with the thrift store. Now, a thrift store, when you think of thrift store, think of stores like Goodwill or Salvation Army. And the thrift store, basically the premise behind a thrift store is that all of their merchandise that they get, that they're selling, all of their inventory is donated. So a thrift store does not have to purchase any of its goods, and it just sells items that people donate. And therefore, the thrift store should be theoretically the lowest price point to purchase things if you're looking to buy used goods. On the flip side, thrift stores will probably have the most junk out of all of the different types of stores that you can actually buy used goods. And that's simply because people usually bring their junk to the Goodwill. So if you don't mind sifting and going back day after day after day to find that one unique piece, or that special gem, then thrift stores might be for you, because and for example, this this vintage this vintage valet that I showed you guys, I got this from the Goodwill, and again, it was only $4. So this first item is a vintage men's valet, and basically what it is you put your clothing on it at night or whenever throughout the day so that you know what you're going to wear the next day, or if you're just coming home and getting undressed. It's a place where men would just put all of their items in one place. So in the tray, they would put their watch, their rings, their wallets, and then they would just hang their clothing here. I've always wanted one of these to just put in our room. I really don't think my husband's going to use it, but it would be magnificent if he did. Now, I picked this up from the Goodwill, and this particular vintage valet cost $8.98, and it was half off because it was Green Day, so I got it for under $5. Now, the antique store would sell something like this all day, every day, and I would actually spend a lot more in the antique store to purchase an item like this, because again, the antique stores, the way they're set up, the antiques and interiors, most of them, when you come in, a vendor will rent out a space, and they'll pay a monthly rent, and they'll have their booth, and then they go out and they curate their space. They collect things from all different places, put them in their booth, and then sell them. And a lot of times you'll find a lot of vintage pieces that are there. Sometimes some booths, they have handmade things, local handmade things that are brand new that they will sell there. And this particular valet I saw in one of the antique shops that I was in. So for me to find it for $4 at the Goodwill was a steal. And now most of the antique shops, all of the owners in that shop basically run the shop. So each one of them has a particular day that they have to set aside a few hours and actually work the shop to keep it open and running. They kind of rotate, time. And so if you want to get the best deal at an antique or, flea market type shop, you want to find out when that particular vendor is there setting up their booth or adding new goods to their booth, because they are always willing to cut you a deal if you can catch them in their shop. And typically they're in their shop after working hours, because a lot of them don't, that's not their full-time job, or they're there on early Saturdays. What you can also do is ask whoever's working the front register that day, hey, I saw this item over in this particular booth. Do you know whose booth that is? And do you know when they typically come in, so that I could talk to them about a discount and they will give you that information? Or if that vendor has already set up an agreement where they could negotiate prices on their behalf up to a certain point, you can also have that done. And I particularly love antique stores simply to, you know, because I can find unique pieces. Now, one of the things you want to watch out for when you're visiting these antique shops and flea markets is that, you know, their price point is higher than a thrift store like Goodwill or Salvation Army, because the items are not donated and they are looking to make a profit and also have money to run and keep the business open. I've found that a lot of times people in the antique shops will go to the Goodwill, purchase those gems, find those gems from the Goodwill, put it in their shop and sell it for a higher price. Particularly if an antique store is right near a Goodwill, like if they're in the same complex, they'll have someone run over to see what they have and bring it back. They're fairly lazy, so they will, you know, from time to time not erase off that Goodwill mark, you know, those little chalk markers that they write the prices on. So you can definitely tell that it came from the Goodwill and they're upping the prices. So you want to watch out for that. And a lot of other times you will also find that a lot of these antique shops will pick up things from like Hobby Lobby, from the 90% off clearance and places like that, and put them in their shop and sell them as kind of like antiques or what have you. Again, they get a little lazy and they forget to pull the tags off, and then they'll put their tag on it, and their tag is some astronomical price in relation to what the actual price was at the store. So know your prices, know, you know, where the goods are coming from, so that you can know whether or not it's a good deal or not. Now this beautiful piece right here I picked up from an antique shop, and if you recall, back from my Thanksgiving Day videos, I was looking for a meat dome, like a dome cover to cover your food, and I actually found one. Well, if you take a look at this, that looks similar to that, right? Here is another meat dome or dome cover, but the unique thing about this piece is that, look, they actually cut it in half. So it's not the entire dome. They cut it in half and put a backing on it, screwed some nails, some holes into it, and turned it into a wall planter. So if you can imagine this, the top that you would pick up the meat dome, it goes upside down, and now you have a beautiful planter. So you'll put your plants or whatever it is that you want to plant inside, and I plan on using this beautiful piece in my dining room. And this is so me. It's so unique to me because you guys know I love to collect all sorts of vintage dishes and any kind of entertaining pieces, and to be able to convert an entertaining piece into some form of artwork or planter is, you know, fantastic. A couple other items that I picked up from the antique shop is this beautiful tea strainer, and it has a wooden handle. And the reason I love this is because I wanted a manly tea strainer or tea items. You guys know, if you've been following me for a while, I do my quality times where I set up a nice fancy tray and have breakfast and some quality time. Well, I wanted to be able to set my husband up a nice little breakfast in bed, and I thought this, you know, tea strainer with a wooden handle had a masculine feel. And I finally found a beautiful antique silver fish server, and this is basically used to scoop up and serve fish, and I've always wanted these, and now I can actually use the set because I have the fish server and I also have the fish forks that I've had for a while. I was waiting to get, you know, all of the pieces so that I could actually set up a tablescape and have Sunday supper using some of these unique pieces. And then this final piece that I got from the antique shop, I have no idea what it is. I'm still researching and trying to figure out what it is, but you know I had to get it because what I love is finding unique vintage pieces and then figuring out what they were used for, and then determining whether I want to use them for a different purpose because the original purpose is antiquated or it does not meet our needs. But at any rate, I think it's some sort of like tongue, and then these holes in the top maybe strain the vegetables or something like that. But it is some sort of a tongue type, utensil, and I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. The last 3 items that I picked up are these margarita servers, and actually they came from 3 different places. This one here came from Ross, and that was like $5.99. This one here came from the antique shop, and this one here came from the thrift store, Goodwill. And the reason I have 3 of them is because I broke the stick for the others, and I wanted another stick. I needed one badly, and they're so expensive to buy new. So when I saw this one here in the antique shop for $5, so the stick actually went to this one, I picked it up. And now consignment shops, where I actually bought that beautiful piece of artwork, they are typically the most expensive, with the exception if you go to a true antique shop. When you find true antiques that are old, they typically cost a lot of money, and a lot of times those antique items are sold off in auctions. But aside from that, just your regular little antique flea market type shop, the consignment shop is probably going to be your most expensive. And that's because, again, the merchandise that comes in is carefully selected by the shop owners. They're only going to select items that they think, will sell. And they are usually current items that are in very good condition. So you're going to get a discount, but it's not going to be like what you see in the other stores. I found that wonderful art piece, and that was $85, but for something that big and gorgeous, I think $85 is well worth the price. Now I'm going to move back so that you can see where I'm actually going to put this. Now this right here is our secondary staircase, and this is the staircase that's in our family room. Our main staircase is in the front of our home, and for quite some time I've been searching for a piece to put in that awkward space. So I found this, and again, as you can see, that space is pretty big, and that is not going to take up enough of the space. I'll still have too much emptiness on the wall, but I do have some plans as to how I'm going to fill that in. Now, consignment shops are not just for furniture. You can also find consignment shops for clothing, kids toys and accessories. I also visited a consignment shop for clothing, and I picked up this wonderful Dooney & Bourke leather bag. And Dooney & Bourke, again, it's not considered what people think of when they think of designer bags, but these bags are awesome, and the quality and construction is, unmatched. And I love finding these good quality bags, and I would personally rather buy used quality than to buy something new that is crappy. And so I'm going to turn the camera around and kind of show you this bag. Now this bag is a Dooney & Bourke flap tab satchel, and it's from the Florentine collection. Dooney & Bourke has several different collections at different price points, but this particular bag has since been discontinued. I believe it made its debut in 2012, and it retailed for $400. Now if you can get your hands on one, if you can find one online, you will pay anywhere in between $170 and $399. Now I purchased my bag from a consignment store for 20 bucks. Yes, that is an absolutely awesome steal. Now this bag is made of Italian vachetta leather, and that is a very durable leather that is almost indestructible, and it's great for an everyday bag. and it has a beautiful matte gold hardware, and the inside is lined with a red fabric and trimmed with green suede. And it also includes the long body strap, so you could turn this into a crossbody bag. And I love the top handle because it has that beautiful whip stitching detail on it. And I just need to get a chance to clean it up, get her cleaned up, and she will be good to go. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that I wanted to do a video on how to dress well without breaking the bank and share some tips and tricks on how to look stylish and classy on a budget. Now, I know budget can mean something different to everyone, so I want you to leave me a comment below as to what dollar amount you believe is budget friendly for a complete head-to-toe look. For example, I want to include accessories like earrings, your watch, your shoes, your necklace, and your outfit. And based on the responses, I will try to pull together some options, and also let me know what type of look you want to see. A workplace look, a casual look, a date night look, etc. The next item that I picked up from the consignment shop is this really cute evening bag that has this beading detail on it and the mother of pearl detail around here and the coin clasp. Again, it lends itself to the vintagey stuff. You guys know I love old school vintage type things, and I love an old school coin purse clasp. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out my previous videos. They will be linked in the description box below. And until next time, I'm going to keep calm and carry on. Bye guys.